Now when I'm making videos, there's times when I really want my text or my icon or image or logo or whatever to not be animated. So I need to create visual interest around it, but I don't want to animate the actual object. Sometimes I don't have enough time for the text to animate in, become legible and then animate out. Or there's times where it's just too important to move it. I want you to really focus in on it. So I want to have motion, but I don't want to animate something in particular. So that's a situation where these kind of animated boxes or frames or whatever you want to call them can be handy. This is the sort of thing that could be useful around a photo, for example. You might make this bigger, not big enough for a photo or text or a logo or something like that. So this is really cool and easy, and let me just show you how easy it was for me to set this up. I'll walk you through it. So you see here that what I've got is 3 rectangles. I started them off from the square primitive here inside of the draw option. And what I did was I started this very first one down here at the bottom. I started that one at 400 wide by 150 high, and really it just whatever works for you. But what I did was I started with a base shape, right? So and I set that one to be 4, the line thickness initially. So it's that this one is this kind of darker burgundy one here at the bottom. Let's just take a quick look at what the animation, and I'll show you how I set that up in just a second. So I set that one up at, again, 400 wide by 150 high, 4 line thickness, and I use the center on stage thing. And that's really important because all of these need to kind of be relative to each other. So then I drew another one, and I did the 400 wide by 150 high also, but I did the line thickness 6 instead of 4. And that created these darker dashes here, and I did use the dash line animation, which we'll look at in a second. And lastly, I did one more, and it's this kind of thicker. Actually, I've got it hidden, don't I? And what I did in this case is I drew that primitive one more time, but I set it to 440 wide, which we see here, and 150. So I did it 40 by 40. So I added 20 pixels, in other words, on all edges, if you divide the extra by 2. So that's how I created the rectangles, all just using primitives, and I used the center on stage in each case. Oh, and as you'll note here on this larger or bigger one, I did a line thickness of 2. So I varied the line thickness of all of them, and you can see also I've varied the color. So I've got a kind of a dark burgundy here, kind of a more maroon, and this is actually a black line. And the text inside I made red, but whatever. So whatever you want to do for what's inside, but the animation here now was set up to have a cool animated frame. And so let's take a look at the animations that I did. The first one I did here is the stroke animation. And I've talked about this little trick in other videos, but just kind of remind you, I've got it set to animated multicolor, but I used the same color for both, the 2 colors. Animated multicolor needs 2 or more colors to create the effect. But all I really wanted was I wanted this kind of nice split effect going on at the very end. Let's kind of go over here to the end. And you can see here that it kind of breaks apart and draws 2 separate lines. And that's just kind of a neat little kind of very much creates visual interest. And so I wanted that. It draws in normally, but when it goes out, it has that split effect, which is really neat. So that's what I wanted to accomplish. And so then I did a more a dashed line for the next one. So I've made that one visible. Let's come over here. And that's going on top of it because I use the center on stage, and because the dimensions are the same, and the only thing that's different is the line thickness, my dashes are playing over the top of that other rectangle, right? So creating a nice little frame animation effect. And then finally I did this last one. And let's look at these dash animations that I used. Let's click on this one. And you can see I used all the default settings here for the animation, but I just selected actually the second one here. I actually selected, it's a little tricky here. I think either this one or the last one of these last 2. I can't recall exactly which one. And then for the this larger rectangle, I went kind of up at the top here, and I selected this first one. I wanted just to create some visual difference. I didn't want the any of the lines to be the same in terms of their animation. I didn't want any of the colors or the thickness. And that creates just this nice, interesting visual effect that just, you know, draws people's eye and keeps them interested in the text for long enough. Let's get that text back on there. And in the text animation, I would normally kind of, you know, put that in the compositing program. It gives me more versatile, you know, we have our text capabilities, but we're limited to the built-in fonts, at least as of the time of this recording. We're actually going to be working on that. But, you know, I would probably composite in my text or my image or whatever it was in my compositing program. But really, I just wanted to show you how quickly and easily you can make this. And it's taken me much longer to articulate this out than it took me to actually create it. This actual animation here probably took me, including experimentation, 3 or 4 minutes. So this is the sort of thing that you can do quickly and easily. Bang out some video, export it to your favorite format for your video, and then, you know, composite it in with the rest of your video and have a segment for your overall video in a very, very short amount of time using Groove Animator.